Hey everyone, Red Rebel Jeff Jones here. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the government shutdown that's taking place at the UN in the US at the moment. I also want to talk about kind of why it happened, the consequences of it, but I'm also going to talk about a conversation that's a bit downstream from that, which is the conversation that is the government doing too much, and I actually think it is. Now, if you like these kinds of conversations, you can join in by putting a comment down below, give your thoughts. I'd love to hear them. Like the video and also subscribe to the channel so you can keep up with what conversations are coming out. It's an interesting topic, I think, because this happens almost every year, these kind of arguments about the funding in the US. So basically, what has happened is that every year, the Congress has to pass a funding appropriations bill. Right? They have to do this every year, and they always disagree on it, which is why I don't really see the arguments about it as kind of newsworthy. I barely pay attention because they're arguing over the funding again. That's kind of how I react to it. And what's interesting about it is that this time they failed to do what they tend to always do, which is get a last minute deal. They failed to do that, and it's which means the government is no longer funded, which means it has to shut down. It cannot function until they come to an agreement. Now, a lot of people will say, but don't the Republicans have control in the Senate? And shouldn't that mean they should be able to pass whatever bill they want? It's like kind of yes and no. Yes, they have control in the Senate, but the Senate, thanks to the filibuster, which I actually think is actually a good actual rule, which is that legislation to be passed in the Senate has to be passed by at least 60 votes. The Republicans have a majority of 53. So they need at least 7 Democrats to vote with them. So that's where like they can't just pass anything they want. Now in the House, it's different. It is a pure majority there, which is why the Republican funding bill passed that unanimously. Sorry, not unanimously, but like it was along party lines, but like yeah, it passed through easily. Sorry, not unanimously. Sorry, got my words a bit mixed up there. But yeah, um, so what happens now is there's a lot of consequences that'll happen. Mainly federal works and services aren't funded, which means they're not happening. Federal employees aren't getting paid, although they will get back pay during the shutdown, so they're not going to lose money. They're just going to get it later on. Now, there's a lot of reasons why this happened, but one of the reasons that the Democrat version of the bill, because is being so controversial at the moment, is that they're insisting on having so many ridiculous stuff in it. The main one that's being talked about is the free healthcare for illegal immigrants. Now, of course, they're denying that, saying, "Oh no, we're not. That's not in there at all. We don't want free healthcare for illegal immigrants. That's not in there at all." It is. It's basically an expansion of Medicare, of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare as it's preferred to be known, because it was Obama's Congress that passed it, really. So that's just one of the things, though. There's quite a few others. I think this does raise a question, and it raises not just a question, it raises a conversation I think needs to be had, and that is government doing too much? I am of the belief that they are. There's a phrase, I think it was Abraham Lincoln that said it, where he said that the government should only do for the people that the people cannot do better for themselves, and nothing more. I think the government is doing a lot of stuff that the people could do better themselves. Now, is there a legitimate role for government? 100%. Kind of passing laws that make sense, although that last part where the laws have to make sense is kind of going a bit by the wayside at the moment. Look at the UK with the digital IDs, look at the hate speech laws. Government is authority and power. And when it comes to that kind of power, it tends to expand itself. And this is why government shouldn't be trusted. I also think it was Ronald Reagan that said that the nine most scariest words ever is "I'm from the government and I'm here to help," which is a it's a good way to describe it really, because the government doesn't really help in the long run, does it? It may help in the short term, but that leads to more long term problems that they don't like dealing with. So I think government should really scale back and just do a few things. It's always better to do a few things well than to do a lot all right. Or in the government situation, they're doing a lot of stuff, but they're really shit at all of them. They're making a horrific job of it all. So step back and just do the bare essentials and let the people do the rest. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm right in that the government should only do the bare essentials? Or do you think that the government has a bigger role to play? Share your thoughts with me in the comment section down below. I would love to hear them. And if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and do not forget to subscribe to keep up with my latest videos. I think the role of government is an interesting conversation, and I think there's a lot of people who there's a lot of weeds in it, so I think that's why a lot of people don't like talking about it, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had.